Hello everyone, here is Manuel, and in this video I would like to give you an update about a project of mine called Bodynodes. Bodynodes is a project about a set of sensors capable of tracking the movement of your body and then use it somehow. So in this video I will present to you a UI, actually a newer version of the UI for Blender, and this UI will let you collect the data and animate a character. So if you don't know Blender, it's basically, this is the tool, the one that you see on the screen, and it's a free tool that lets you create your own bodies, characters, and then animate them in this virtual world. So I actually already published something about this UI for Blender, but it was extremely basic, and I tried to improve it, adding way more functionalities, and this will just help you get things done. But let's go through it. First of all, an improvement that I made was move all the code that was in this small rectangle in a file by itself, so that anyone can use the editor of their choice. In fact, the Blender editor is not the best place to develop. Now, Blender works with Python scripts, so you have to learn Python to understand how to do it, but it's actually a very simple language. So let's run our script, and this script will just register and create the UI that we want. In this case, we'll create a new Bodynodes tab and we'll add it to the view submenu of Blender. And we'll also assign functionalities to all of these buttons, as you can see. Now, in the first version, I had only a few things. I had only a start and stop of the server and a start stop of animation, but as you can see, there is way much more right now. So let's go from the top to the bottom and see what all of this does. So first of all, we can select the player. Obviously, almost all animation projects have multiple players that interact, or characters that interact with each other. You want to have the possibility to select which one you want to work on, and there you go. In this case, we have only two main characters, and that's what you can see here. By changing the code in the script, you can add more characters to here. Then we have the server section. So here the trick is that we are talking about Wi-Fi sensors. These will send data to your PC through an hotspot that you have to create on the PC, and they will send data to the local server of the PC. Now, this start and stop button will help you to create automatically this local server. So you want to start the server, and once you're finished with all the recordings, you want to stop it, because you don't want to have servers hanging around in your machine for all your life. As soon as you start the server, what happens is that your character will start following you. So you put your sensor, you start the servers, you move around, and you see the character moving with you. But that doesn't do anything. It's not recording, or it's not taking any keyframe in your animation. So that's what all these buttons will help you with, taking recordings and change them as you see fit. So first of all, I wanted to give the possibility to have multiple recordings, up to 3, as you can see. We have take 1, take 2, take 3. You select which one you want and then you just take it. But also I wanted to give the possibility to move from one take to the other. And how you do that, you just, once you have recorded it, or you have taken your take, you just select it and you apply it. Okay, so then we have a stop button. The stop button will help you to stop an animation at any point. So usually you have your timeline, you have the starting frame, you have the last frame, and the animation will go through from the start to the end normally, but if you press the stop button, it will stop at any point. So if you don't like the animation, something happened, you just stop. Then we have the start change and end change buttons. What they do, they basically help you change or apply changes that you apply to a bone in a particular frame to all the subsequent frames. So if you didn't like, or there is some calibration issue that you want to solve to all your keyframes, you just apply it once and you will apply to all the others automatically. So you select start, you apply the change, then you end the change, and then the changes will be applied to all the bones that you have changed it for all the other keyframe or the frames. We have the apply work functionality, and these are two buttons, but they more or less do the same thing. But in summary, they basically let you create a walking animation of your character automatically. What I mean is that usually if you were to take a walking recording, what you would see is the character staying still while his feet are moving backwards and forward, and is not moving anywhere. By clicking these buttons using these functionalities, you will be able to see the character moving automatically. So instead of having the foot to go backwards, you apply a movement on the body forwards. What happens is that the foot will stay still in your animation. That's it. That's what they do. Tracking section. Here we give the possibility to the animator to disconnect temporarily your sensors to the characters. Why? This is very useful when you want to double check some of the recordings that you've taken. If you were to keep the tracking enabled at all times and you would play the animation, you would see that the recording will flicker with the Bodynodes in real time. So what you do, you just disabling temporarily, the animation will just go through it, then you take another recording, you enable it again, and the tracking works. Puppet orientation. In this section we play, it's all about some particular postures that we prefer and we like. So if for example I want to start for a very specific posture for my character, I obviously want to save it, that's the save button, then I apply all the animation, I move it as much as I want, I can get back to it just by loading the posture again. Reset puppet instead is it will set your character, this character that you've selected, to a predefined initial position, which is the initial T position. Here an example, there you go. Then we have the axis settings section. Here we give the possibility to any animator to change the settings of the axis setting between the data that you receive from the sensors and the axis of the virtual axis in your Blender animation, and so on. So if you, for example, make your own body nodes and you have different axes, you can change it, understand how to change them properly with this very nice UI. So we are working with quaternions, and quaternions are composed by 4 values, W, X, Y, Z. What is happening in here? On the left side we have the axis of the bone, on the right side we have the axis of the sensor. So if I were to change epsilon here and X here, what happens is that all the epsilon values coming from the epsilon values of the quaternions coming from the sensor will be assigned to the X values of the bone. That's it. It's very useful if you need to understand how to rearrange the axis of your own sensors. And well, these are not permanent. You have then to apply them to the on the script. Finally, last but not least, we have the close button. It's very useful if you're a developer and want to change the script. What it does is basically closing the UI, stopping the animation and the server, and then you can load the script back again. It's very useful if you want to do some changes. You don't have to stop Blender, you just have to close it, close the UI, and then you start back again. So that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. Thanks so much for listening to me and to watching it. See you next time. Bye.